anniversary of the Skyline Chili Crosstown Showdown, presented by Meyer and Dr. Pepper. You have to get them all in because without the great partners, an event like this wouldn't have been possible to start some 17 years ago, the planning process, and certainly wouldn't be here today. It's pretty cool, and as you look around the room, if you wonder what all this is, every year since year one, we've created kind of a promotional poster for the event. And they're in, and if you wonder where year one is, to kind of give you a perspective on how far we've come, this is year one. Not that there's anything wrong with that, mind you, but the design, if you look behind the football, is actually the state of Ohio and the surrounding states kind of yeah, you're looking at it, I know it's kind of maybe hard to see, but we've come a long way, and we've come a long way for one reason. We've got great partners, but more importantly, we've got great football, and the great football program is evidenced by the people in this room. This event would not be possible without the support and participation of every one of you in here. There are 42 schools in this year's event playing 21 games. 38 of those schools are represented here today. And 2 of them, one is in Florida, one's in Maryland, so we'll cut them a little slack. So the reality, I think that shows volumes about what this event means, and we're thrilled to be able to continue to put it on. You know, I would have never envisioned we'd be here 15 years later, but not just be here, but growing and thriving and having the biggest field, and I think we got some really cool elements tied to this year's event. Let me first, I do need to say a couple thanks to some folks who are in the room here. Skyline Chili, I can't say enough about what they mean. You know, you talk about an event and credibility and having the right brand attached to it. There's not a better brand in Cincinnati. You go anywhere that's fun and entertainment and sports-based, you're going to find Skyline Chili. I'd like to ask Sarah Lapham, just stand, Sarah, be recognized. She does a phenomenal job at Skyline Chili. And Kevin McDonald, their CEO, too, I want to thank him, and Terry Donovan as well. They're not here today, but they truly believe in this. They believe in your communities and what you mean to Skyline Chili. It wouldn't be possible without them. Also, Meyer and Dr. Pepper, we got to find a couple folks here from Don Schroeder, Tom Borchers, who represent Dr. Pepper, and of course I go nowhere without my Dr. Pepper. So, and I know they've already been conditioning some folks at their table that's what they need to do too. But they make it fun, and they make a lot of the promotions possible, and I think that's obviously a big key. I know we've got some folks here from some of our other partners, Wellington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. I know Mario Ciccinelli, Brian Colley, Lisa Sweeterman. Where are you folks? Raise your hand. They do a great job, fine partner of the event. And we've also got United Dairy Farmers in this year, a Cincinnati tradition. We're going to be announcing a partnership with Time Warner Cable Sports, which is going to be pretty darn cool as well. And again, I can't emphasize, without partners, none of this would be possible. I'd like to take a minute to just express a couple of special thanks to some folks in the room. You know, when I first started thinking about this way back in 1995, a guy who was a big part of putting this together and helping me with information and kind of bending his ear and kind of giving me his thoughts and his honest approach is Dave Dabelt, the athletic director of Elder. Where are you, Dave? I want to thank him. He was a huge part of this from the beginning, and Elder continues. They were in it year number 1. They're in it year number 15. Where's Scott Wilhoit? Willie in the room? Scott Wilhoit from the University of Cincinnati has really made this an easy event to run, even though on event day it might not look that way. He and his staff do a great job and has made UC a very, very enjoyable place to play football games. My former radio partner, Richard Skinner, if you don't know anything about him, you'll hear him doing the public address for your game. He's done every single game for 14 years, with the exception of one when we let a sponsor rep do a game, and any night where there's been multiple sites. He's done every game, which is pretty incredible. I want to thank him. I want to thank members of the media. I think everybody in here who's involved with high school football knows one of the prime reasons that high school football is so popular is because of the great job that the media has done and continues to do promoting high school football. And I'd like to personally thank my lovely wife, Lori, over here, who I helped train, and she just finished a half marathon. I didn't, trust me, I didn't do it. Are you kidding me? In fact, I think I might have been hanging out eating while she was running it. But thank you, A, for still being with me. I mean, really, when you look like I do, you got to be happy with anybody who'll be with you. But she's gorgeous and does a great job. And she's worked really, really hard on our new website, which I'll tell you about a little bit later as well. I'd like to ask a couple coaches to come up and say a few words. You know, I think too often, you know, you get too close to the situation. I got to tell you, I'm a little bit overwhelmed by this crowd today. I want to thank everybody for coming. But I'd like to ask a couple coaches to come up and say a few words, give a little showdown perspective. First, I'd like to tell a little bit about this guy. George Contis, the head coach of Walnut Hills. Last year, they were in the very first game to be played in the state of Ohio, a Wednesday night game at Colerain High School. And in the last couple minutes, they wound up with a 23-22 win over Wyoming and went on to go 8-2 during the regular season and make the school's very first state playoff appearance. So hopefully it was a catalyst. I'd like to ask George, and he knows he has a very strict time limit. I'd like to ask George to say a few words. George?